I'm going to tell you right off the bat that this bottom jaw area is actually going to give you a whole lot of trouble, and that is because we've got some very strange things going on with the geometry here, and you can kind of start to see it if you look at how this is just kind of a nice smooth gray gradient, and we get to right here and there's this little kind of dark area. I'm not sure how well you can see that on my video here, but if you check it out on your shark, you should see it just become just slightly darker, just right in this area, okay? And you can see it right here too as well, just a kind of a darkening on that area, and that's usually an indication that something strange is going on there. So the best way to deal with that is to grab some of these vertices and just start moving them around to see if anything bizarre starts happening. As you can see, that one I grabbed right there, we've got this sort of extra face coming out from there, okay? As soon as I grabbed that. And let's try this one. Okay, and you see there's another extra face there, which is very strange. If I grab it again, there's yet another one. Okay, so that's obviously going to be a big problem with your geometry, and that's going to cause you a lot of trouble when you're trying to do your UV mapping. You're just not going to be able to do it as long as things are looking like this, okay? So as you can see, I'm just grabbing this exact same, well, what looks like the exact same vertex here, and it's actually a whole bunch of vertices right on top of one another, okay? So, and it just keeps going. Okay, so, you know, after I've pulled a few of those out, what I'm going to do is, you know, I'm just going to start deleting some of these faces, alright, that we've pulled out that are extra here, okay? Just get rid of them to try and clean this up a little bit. And, you know, it's probably going to leave a hole in your shark here, but that's alright because we are going to fix it in a moment, okay? So just start getting rid of all these extra faces that you're seeing, okay? And I'm going to continue what I was doing, grabbing the vertex, and looks like after all that deleting, I've finally reached the original vertex here. Okay, so we just want to make sure that we only have one left. All right, we're gonna do the same thing here. Okay, here it looks like we have extra as well. And let's go to the next one in the line there. Yep, there's some more extra going on there. Extra here as well. So you can see pretty quickly this gets to be a crazy tangled mess right here. Okay, so just take some time and just start deleting these, alright? Okay, so the problem that's going on here is a bit complex to fix and to make sure that you've, you know, gotten everything you needed to get. So what I'm going to recommend is coming into a view from the side here of your shark and just, you know, grabbing, just marquee selecting, you know, all of these faces, excluding that one, of course. Okay, so just get all of these faces that are in this general area right here, alright? And just go ahead and delete all of those. And that's going to get all those extra ones at the same time as well, okay? And it looks like when I did that I kind of missed these guys on the top here, so make sure you get those as well, alright? Just grab all of these faces and make sure you get rid of them. And as you can see, when I did that, everything is kind of separated now. Oh, don't forget these guys right here as well. Grab all of those. Get rid of them. And if you can still see this line here, just like in mine, that's just kind of floating out in the middle of nowhere here, that's where your extra faces are, alright? They're still there, just hidden on top of themselves in this line. So make sure you are grabbing all of those as well and getting rid of them, okay? Grab that until that line has totally disappeared completely. Okay, so that's kind of gotten rid of some of the crazy stuff that's going on there. And so now when you grab any of these vertices that are along the edge here, you should just see the one vertex just behaving normally when you move it around, okay? So let's go ahead and reconnect that portion of the mouth, okay? And just put everything back the way it was without all the extra stuff, right? Okay. So, looks like what you had there was this line continuing down, okay? So what I'm going to do is just grab this edge all the way around, alright? And I'm just going to hit Edit Mesh, Extrude. And once I do that, I'm going to use my Move tool to just move everything out a bit. And I'm just going to scale it in a bit, just so we have something to kind of work with that we can see, alright? You know, things might be kind of like, you know, on top of each other right now, but we'll fix that in just a moment, okay? So once we've got that, let's go ahead and start connecting things back together. So and the way that we're going to do that is just to come up to Edit Mesh, Merge Vertex tool, and you'll want to grab this little tool icon. It looks like a little wrench in a bullet point list right up here in the upper right corner. It's going to bring up this box over here, and that's just your settings for your Merge Vertex tool. You can either merge it to target vertex, or you can merge it to center. So for this, we're actually going to just keep it set to target vertex, so make sure you have it set to that, alright? And we'll just go ahead and exit out of that little box there. And what you're going to do is you're going to grab this new vertex along this new face that you've just made, okay? And just pull it down to the old one right here, okay? So you're just going to click and drag. There we go. And should just snap right on, just like that, okay? So just click and drag. And you're just going to go all the way around and just do this, alright? Just click and drag, click and drag. Until you've closed up the shark, okay? And, you know, sometimes, like in this situation, it may be easier to see from the inside of the shark. Okay, so you can always just come to an inside view here, just like this. And just zoom in on this area. Make sure you're grabbing the right vertex, okay? You just clicking and dragging all the way around. Oops, okay, so that was an instance of me grabbing the wrong one. So if that ever happens, you know, just hit the Z button to go back. Okay, so what we have now Is our shark geometry all fixed? Okay, in this area here we no longer have those weird black areas or dark areas. Okay, so everything is back to normal. So we can now address our UVs, okay? So once we've made changes to our model like this, our UVs that we previously had are probably not going to be too happy about it, okay? So it's best in this scenario to just start with a clean slate as far as our UVs go. So we're just going to go through creating some new UVs for this, okay, right now. So just go make sure you're in object mode, grab your shark, and you're going to come up to create UVs, and we're going to do cylindrical mapping, alright? So just click on that guy. Now once we have this, we're going to need to change the orientation a little bit. Make sure in rotate Y you have 90 degrees, okay? And in rotate Z you also want 90 degrees. And for projection horizontal sweep, make sure you have 360 degrees. Alright, and once you've got that, you can use these little green handles up here to adjust the length of the map so that it's about the length of your shark there, okay? And again, you know, I sort of suggest making sure you're looking at it from the side so you can best tell where that is, alright? And also you'll want to adjust how close it is to your shark here, what a big circumference around it is right now. You don't want to take a look at that from the front. You'll just be grabbing this center square here and clicking and dragging just to bring that in a little closer to the size of your shark, okay? So something like that. And once you have your UVs should be all set and ready to work with. Alright, so we'll come up to Window, UV Texture Editor, and your UVs should pop up just like this. Alright. Now, if you're not seeing these colors, this blue and red and purple and stuff, just make sure that you have this button right here selected. It looks like a little blue square and a little gray square overlapping each other, okay? That's just a toggle to turn those colors on and off, okay? And basically those colors tell us where things are folded over on top of each other and where we need to unfold things, okay? Because we never want any overlapping UVs, alright? So for this, let's start with our fin here. This is our dorsal fin. You can see it's not really folded over itself. It's all this nice light blue color, which means it's not really overlapping, but the UVs are a little bit squashed together in this area. Okay, so we want to unfold them a little bit so that each polygon on our shark has its own nice space that we can draw on later, okay? So you want to come to UV mode and just grab this whole section right here, and we're going to come up and grab a tool right up here in the upper left hand corner. It's called the Smooth UV tool. Okay, it looks like a little unfolded box with an arrow over it. Just click on that, and once you do, somewhere on your UV texture editor screen you should see a tool pop up that says Unfold and Relax. And what you can do is just click and drag on the word relax, or click and drag on the word unfold to start unfolding and relaxing this area, okay? So I'm going to try relax real quick and see how that works. So you can see when I do that, it just sort of spreads everything out and gives everything its own space, okay? And that's kind of what we want to achieve here with this particular fin. Just zoom in once you've done that and make sure that you know, everything's still not overlapping, you know, everything's got its own space. And it looks good. And the fin, you know, is just as simple as that. We'll also do that with this fin over here. Let's just grab everything in that general vicinity and we'll just relax it, okay? And sometimes the relax tool will do everything for you and you'll be fine, but other times it won't quite get everything, especially if you miss a particular vertex. Like in that one, I kind of missed one on the end there. So another way to go about selecting things like this would be to grab, say one vertex here and use the Shift and period key. Okay, so hold down Shift and hit period, and that's just going to select everything around or next to your previous selection. So you can just start selecting things that are around the fin in this way, okay? And that way you make sure you've got every UV that's on that fin and some of the UVs around as well, okay? So once you've got that, go ahead and try your relax tool, and now you can see I've got everything in my selection, and it's unfolded nicely into this kind of spider web shape. Alright, we're going to do the same thing over here. I'm just going to grab one and use the Shift period key to grab some things around it till I have that whole fin. Okay, I'm just going to relax the fin. Alright, simple as that. Same thing right down here with this fin. The only thing that you might want to note on this particular fin is your relax tool will not work nicely for you if you have grabbed any of the UVs that are on the edge here. Okay, so anywhere there's an edge and you want to use that relax tool, make sure that you are not grabbing anything that is on the edge, okay, because it's going to crumple your edge and bring it, kind of squish it in, alright? So for this one, I'm just going to go ahead and grab all these UVs, being careful not to grab anything on the edge, and just use my relax tool again, and just relax that until it looks something like that. And of course, there's one on the other side here as well, so we'll just grab that, use the relax tool on it to unfold it, okay? So we're kind of taken care of the easy part there with those fins, alright? Let's kind of deal with this mouth area here, alright? Now, the easiest way to deal with this is to actually bring the edge to where we want it to be. Okay, all of these on the edge we want to unfold, and then we can simply use our relax tool once we have our edges in place to just kind of bring this into shape, okay? So the way I'm going to start is by grabbing some of these UVs in this general area here, okay, and just pulling them down to give us more space over here, okay? So I'm just going to pull them down a little bit, and these as well. Just pull them down to give me some space to work with to unfold this, alright? Now, basically anywhere where you're seeing purple or red or anything that's not this normal light blue color here, that's where you've got things folded over on top of themselves, okay? So you just want to grab things individually if possible, and just start moving them around and seeing if you can get things to have that nice blue color. Okay, so what I did right there was I just grabbed this UV individually and pulled it down, and you can see there's a UV kind of on top of itself there, alright, that we couldn't quite see before, okay? So it's good to just grab things one at a time sometimes, and just pull them around and see what happens in that regard, okay? So I'm going to pull this one next to it down as well so that we can see a little bit better what's happening here. Alright, so, anytime we're seeing this purple like this one probably just needs to stay where it's at. Something else needs to come down. We want to make sure that we're always seeing this nice blue color, okay? So we'll bring this up, alright? Start bringing things up. Okay, so when I brought that down, you can see we've got this blue color here. So it looks like this one is the correct one to bring down here, okay? Then sometimes, it takes a little trial and error to figure out which one should be the next one to be pulled down. Okay, but generally, as a rule, if it's making things purple, it needs to go up. If it's blue, then it needs to come down, okay? So let's see if we can find the next one. Okay, so as you can see, when I brought that down, everything remains blue. So that's our next one we want to bring down, okay? Anything purple we want to bring up. Anything blue we want to bring down. Okay, so there we go. There's another blue one. Just bring that down. And sometimes it helps to use the tool we've used before, that Shift period key, to find where our next blue one is going to be, okay? So if I grab something that's already kind of in this correct position, in this light blue area, and I just hit Shift period, it grabs everything that's next to it, or that should be next to it. So I can kind of see my next blue one is going to be right here in this row, alright? So, and because there are actually two UVs right on top of each other in this row, it may not be the first one I grab. Okay, so in that case, it was the second one there. And I just kind of bring it down so that I can see a little better. Okay. So we've got kind of some blue stuff going on there. We'll just use our Shift period key again to try and figure out where our next blue area is going to be. Alright, it's going to be this one. And at this point, you can just kind of start bringing whatever's on the top here needs to come down, and whatever is on the bottom here needs to come up. Alright, we're just kind of flipping them over. So let's just bring what's on the bottom up. And it may look a little messy at first, but it'll all work out in the end. Just trying to untangle everything the best that we can. Again, I'm just using that Shift period key to try and figure out what things need to come down next, okay? And sometimes you may see red like this, okay? And that's usually because this is all tangled up. Whatever's next to it is all tangled up, and that causes this to be folded over and be red. Alright? But it's alright, you can just leave it that way as long as you know that these two are meant to be next to each other. Okay, and the way you can do that is just to grab one of those, hit shift period, and if this next one lights up, it's in the right place, alright? Okay, so once I have everything pretty much untangled the way I want it on the edge, I'm just going to move everything a little bit and give it some even spacing, as even as I possibly can, alright? Just like that. And all of these on this edge here are in the proper order, okay? They're going the correct direction here. So once I have that edge untangled, it's just a matter of grabbing all of this craziness in here, okay? And just using that relax tool again to just relax everything, okay? So it's as simple as that. Just make sure that your edges are in order, and then you can use your relax tool to kind of bring everything else into shape, okay? You can also try your unfold tool if you want, if you like the results better of that, okay? And now you can see everything is unfolded there properly, okay? So you're going to do the same thing on the other side here for this one, but I won't do that right now. I'll let you do that on your own, okay? Alright, so let's tackle this big gap right here. Okay, we've got kind of a gap happening. We have some things that are sort of folded over on top of themselves going on here. We got some purple, some red. All of those things need to be addressed. So anywhere that you see red, it means that probably something is kind of folded on top of itself. It's facing the wrong direction. Alright, so generally it needs to be pulled in the opposite direction of what it is right now, okay? So for example, this is kind of all being pulled to the left, alright? It's all red, and there's this big gap here, which is kind of an indication that we should probably try and pull it over to the right in order to flip it over to the correct orientation, alright, to give it this nice light blue color. So we're just pulling this stuff over a little bit, alright. We just want to make sure that everything is getting that nice light blue color. And sometimes it can be a little difficult to tell what's what when everything is sort of tangled up like this. You know, just keep working on it, and just try and figure out, you know, where you want things to be and where things probably ought to be in line, okay? Same over here, you just want to kind of pull things out. Obviously these guys way over here are just way out in the middle of nowhere. So we'll bring these back over. Yeah. So all this stuff just needs to come back over. Okay. And sometimes it helps if you just move this kind of purple stuff away from the edges. Okay. Just move that over, kind of in the opposite direction. Alright. this is, you know, one of those times that it may be good to just try out your unfold and untangle in these sorts of areas, okay? And, you know, it might work for you and it might do crazy stuff like that. So it won't work for you every time. But sometimes it can kind of help you see where things are getting tangled up and how they sort of belong. So I'm just going to grab a couple of these right here. And just, you know, try relaxing things a little bit. So, you know, I wound up with something like that, which is, you know, pretty alright. It gives me the general idea of what's going on there. Just keep relaxing things. See if I can figure out a little better what this ought to look like. Okay. So I can see kind of a little fin area going on here, so I'll grab some of that as well. And use my relax tool to just try and bring that into shape. Okay. So already things in this area are looking a lot better. We don't have those weird polygons just kind of way off on the side here. We don't have things overlapping quite as much, except for, you know, maybe right here. There's a little bit of overlapping. We can probably just fix with the relax tool just like that. I moved this over just a moment ago, so I'll just move it back. So now it becomes just sort of a little bit easier to see what's going on with this gap here and how we might go about closing it, okay? Before we get to this gap, let's go ahead and unfold this fin as well. So we're just going to grab some things around it and just try relaxing that fin. Alright. So you may see that there's kind of a center line to your shark, and it just kind of comes right down through here and should just sort of continue down in sort of a straight fashion all the way down to the bottom of your shark. So we want to try and follow that center line as much as possible. So what I would do in this particular case would be to just make sure that we're moving everything to sort of agree with that center line, right? And just kind of follow that center line. And, you know, it's alright if it gets a little bit tangled up in there in that fin area. Okay? I just want it to pretty much try to follow that center line as much as we possibly can. We don't want any zigzaggy lines if we can avoid it or if we can help it, okay? So, okay, so here comes our center line right down here. And if we just follow that line, we can see it just kind of zags over here. So this is part of our center line right here. So we want to move it into place with our center line, okay? And just follow that and move that into place. So anything that's part of this center line should be moved over to our kind of center area here, alright? Until we have something that's, you know, somewhat straight, just going right straight down the center of our shark. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and grab some of that and just relax it again. And unfold it a bit. Okay. And grabbing a wider area like that will help it not be so lopsided the way it is right now. It's kind of veering off like this, which, you know, of course we don't want, but it happens sometimes. So just try and keep everything as in line as you possibly can, alright? Just by relaxing things or moving things over. So we can see the gap is actually mostly on this side of the center line, okay? It doesn't have a lot to do with this, this side over here. So let's see if we can go about kind of filling this gap in, alright? And connecting everything. So we can see there's kind of a little corner right here where it begins to split apart, alright? And if we just go ahead and bring things in line, so grab this UV over here and just bring it over, we can see where things line up here, where this line would connect to this over here, okay? We'll just keep that continuation going. We'll just bring these over as well, closer, okay? To just kind of see how we might close that gap. Each one of these has a corresponding edge, okay, on both sides of the gap that it can be connected to, alright? So now that we've brought some things kind of close together like this, let's just come into our edge mode here and just start grabbing some of these edges. And you should see when you grab an edge, it should light up on both sides of this gap, okay? And you'll just come up here and grab this little icon that looks like a needle, okay? And what that does is sew the edges together. Alright, so we're just going to hit sew. And it's automatically just going to close that gap and just connect those edges that we had next to each other, alright? So let's check out the rest of our gap here and see if we've got some corresponding edges. Go to our UV mode and just bring this over just like that. We'll just sew that together. And as you can see, there was one UV that was sitting right on top of the other UV there, okay? So it was a little hard to see. We'll just bring it over. Go to our edge mode again. Just grab those edges and sew them together. Okay, so once we've done that, the gap has been completely closed now, so we can just kind of grab this entire area, making sure not to grab any of the outside edges, okay? And just use our relax and unfold tools to bring everything back into line and back into shape, okay? So we don't have to actually go in there and shape each individual vertex, alright? So we just want to unfold things and shape things in that area, okay? Now let's grab this fin right here, okay? Just grab a couple of the UVs on the edge there, and we're just going to use our shift period tool, just like we have been, to grab some of the UVs that are around that area, and we're just going to well, I was just going to relax them, but of course I forgot my number one rule here, that I don't want to select any of the UVs on the edge if I am going to use my relax tool. So clearly the relax tool is not going to work very well for us in this particular situation, but we could use it if we wanted to. Actually, yeah, let's go over how we might deal with that. Okay, so I'm gonna try the relax tool. As you can see, I have my edges selected. So what it has done is just kind of pulled all my edges in just like this, all right, so that they're kind of all on top of each other right now, which is, you know, of course not what we want. We want everything to have its own space. Once I've done that, my edges should be kind of all in order, but just kind of squished and pulled in. So we just want to pull them back out at this point. Only the edges, all right? Nothing else, just the edges we want to pull out. And just using that that shift period key to find our next edge, all right? And just pull these things out and bring them back along the edge, okay? And things may start to get a little squished together, all right? So you'll want to, of course, give everything its own space. Okay, so you probably didn't want to watch me do that forever, so I've kind of brought out all the edges here, all right? And we're just going to grab everything that is not part of the edges and make sure you get it kind of everything that's sort of squished in here as well. Oops. Being careful not to grab those edges. Maybe see, like right there, just kind of grab everything around. Just using that relax tool and unfold tool to just sort of bring things back into line. Okay, and obviously in my selection I didn't get this one right here, so you know that's just a simple bring it down. So at that point, everything is now kind of unfolded there, all right? You want to grab this stuff as well and just start unfolding. It's gonna bring everything all kind of wacky and zigzaggy for now, but once we get this other side done, we can just kind of grab all of this at once. Alright, and use our unfold tool to really bring it into line, okay? So I'm going to fast forward through that as well for you, and we'll come back when we've got that other side all unfolded, okay? Alright, so I've gone through and kind of untangled this fin area. So once I've untangled both sides like that, just, you know, I want to grab everything that I can without grabbing the edges. And again, just, you know, zoom in to make sure I haven't grabbed the edges. And just relax and unfold that, just to bring everything back into a nice even shape, okay, as even as possible. Just using that relax and unfold tool, we've kind of brought everything into a nice smooth shape, okay? So that kind of takes care of that bottom area there, all right? The last area that you're going to want to worry about, of course, is the top here. This is the nose of your shark. As you can see, it's still kind of folded over itself. So what we're going to do is actually unfold that nose and just continue our center line up the shark, okay? So let's go ahead and find our center line first thing. All right, so we can see it's just coming up here nicely and then just sort of veers off to the side here. So let's grab it and just bring it back into place. All right, so we're just gonna pull it back over, put it in the center here, okay? And again, just following that line, just grabbing it and pulling it back over. We're going to do the same thing on the other side here as well. There is obviously some faces that will connect here to our center line, okay? So let's do our best to try and kind of find those and bring them over. And they'll most likely be right here on the edge, okay? So for example, this is one of them. If we just pull it over. And here's another. Okay, so it should look something like that. It should just have this nice little gap here, and we'll just sew those up, alright? So we're just going to go to edge, and just grab these, and just use our little sew tool up here to just sew those back together, okay? Let's also grab this one that's just kind of floating out in the middle of nowhere here and just bring it in. We can actually bring it all the way over. As you can see, it belongs over here. Okay, so we're just going to be grabbing the things that are kind of furthest away here and just pulling them over. So whatever's on the edge of this purple area, we're just bringing it over to the blue area over here. Okay, just flipping things around. You know, this is another one of those instances where you really could just use your relax tool to fix that. Okay, so let's do that over here as well. Let's try the relax tool on this side. So we'll just grab all this stuff, making sure that we're not grabbing anything that is on the edge. Okay. And just relaxing things. Just like that. Okay. Obviously, because I only had one side selected, it's kind of pulled my center line over a little bit. Alright? So ideally, you'll want to have this other side of the mouth here unfolded, and you'll want to make sure that you grab things on both sides. Okay. So that everything stays pretty centered. Just relaxing things as much as you can. Okay, so while this isn't really, you know, perfect, in the end you should have something that looks a little bit like this. Okay, we just want to make sure that everything is all blue. It's nice light blue color, nothing's overlapping, everything has its own space. Alright, and that we're using up this space as much as we possibly can of this square area right here, okay? So that's kind of what your goal is with this. Let me know if you have any questions about it. Feel free to shoot me an email if you have anything you want to ask, and good luck and happy modeling.